Hi there and welcome to Foot Depot. Today I'm going to be bringing you a brand new squad build and we're trying something a little bit different today. We're going to be doing the oldest Barclays Premier League squad. So let's go in and have a look at the team that we built. So as you can see here, a bit of a mix up of players and I've based the oldest squad on a 4-1-2-1-2 formation. So obviously it's not the oldest player and then just straight down the 11 after, because otherwise we'd struggle to fill an even squad and play some games with. So as you can see, in goal we've got Julian Speroni from Crystal Palace. Actually played against Chelsea in their 2-1 win last week. Pretty decent keeper, but not the best stats on there. I would have ideally liked a gold, but you know, we don't pick and choose. Obviously it's based on age. Moving on to the right back, we have a Brighton player, Spanish right back Saltor. Not the best of pace for a right back, 60 pace, and yeah, the stats are pretty basic on this card, not the best, but overall rated as 72. Moving on to the centre back partnership, we've got Damien Delaney, 32 pace. Yeah, very challenging this was going to be as soon as I built this squad, and it would be 6'3" in height. And the second centre back, we have Gareth McCauley, not much better, even though he's a gold. 33 pace, 79 defending and 76 physical, and low to high work rate in terms of that, so really not attacking at all for a centre back. Then moving on to the left back, probably one of the surprise packages when I was building this squad, we've got Holobas, the Greek left back from Watford, 80 pace, which is really handy to have in the team because the average pace of the team was pretty slow. And then as you can see, the other stats are pretty decent on there as well. Now moving on to the CDM spot, we have the all-time Premier League appearance record holder. It's Gareth Barry, 32 pace. But the other stats in this card are pretty decent, and he actually played really well in game. And a nice CDM to have sitting there, a lot of experience from him. Onto the right midfield position, you can see a bit of crazy look there from Chris Brunt. Probably one of the most underrated sort of players that just seem to consistently perform for a team. Really good crosser of the ball, but as you can see, 59 pace there as well, left-footed right midfielder. Then moving on to left midfielder, we have Mark Pugh, and he's not actually too old, Mark Pugh, but he was the oldest left midfielder that came in there. He's from Bournemouth, and a pretty basic card there from him as well, as you can see, but 4-star weak foot and 4-star skill moves. Moving on to the cam, I actually pushed forward from a CDM Michael Carrick to a cam, and it worked out pretty well. Even though he had 44 pace, he felt quite quick in game. So yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit more in game. And then the two strikers, the lethal strike partnership. We've got Peter Crouch, 33 pace, 75 shooting, but 6'7" in height. Absolutely amazing that he's that tall. And then the second striker, we have the one and only Zlatan Ibrahimovic, a Swedish striker from Manchester United. Doesn't play the game this season yet, but he still fits into this squad. 6'5" in height, 4-star weak foot and 4-star skill moves. That should be 5-star skill moves without a doubt still, but a great striker nonetheless. So let's go in and have a look at the clips and the goals that we got with this team. So moving on to the goals with this team now, and as you can see, we start off with none other than a Peter Crouch header. Really nice header there from him, and the first thing I'll say about this team is I was just generally surprised about how well they played. Obviously I was only playing friendlies just because seasons games would have been a little bit tough, but I still came up against some opponents with a lot better teams and some players that actually played pretty decent. You'll see some of the games I can see quite a few goals. That's quite inevitable when you're coming up against players like Martial, Gabriel Jesus, the general sort of BPL players that you come up against. And it was difficult with the defence. Obviously the pace was quite slow, but what I will say is, especially with like Gareth McCauley for example, he's got quite a high rated card in terms of his gold, 77. Although his pace isn't good, the rest of his stats are really good, and I think when a player hasn't got great pace, I think they make up for it with positioning, and they just seem to be in the right place at the right time, which really helps out as well. But what I will say with this team as well is when you're using a team that's quite weak like this in certain areas, you have to really use the team as a whole and try not to do too much on the ball. And I found the best way was just really to get the ball up to the strikers as quick as possible, and you'll see with the goals, Peter Crouch was absolutely amazing. Moving on to him now, 6 games we played with this team, he scored 7 goals and got 2 assists, and that goal there is just ridiculous. I don't know how he does it. He just seemed to play incredibly for me. I might use this team again and find that he's not as great, but just look at this strike. He turns, gets the ball on the turn, picks it out his feet, and for a big guy, wow, that is an amazing strike. Really impressive him. He outshone Ibrahimovic, which is a joke considering Crouch is 900 coins and Ibrahimovic coming at 140k. A lot more than any other player in this team by far. Don't get me wrong, I actually found Ibrahimovic very well. He's a great target man. Obviously when you've got 2 target men as well, it's quite difficult, but his strength is really good in game, and he got 5 goals in 6 and 3 assists as well, which is pretty decent. But yeah, like I said, Crouch was the surprise package by far. Also going on to Michael Carrick, I pushed him into that cam position. Like I said, when I used him in game, you'll see here on quite a lot of the clips, his pace was ridiculously good. You see a guy giving up there and Mark Pugh getting, I think, his only goal that he got in there. But Michael Carrick was ridiculous. Like, he scored 3 goals in the end and got 3 assists, and he was just everywhere on the pitch. Just seemed to be very good. Obviously, his passing is great, 81 passing, but that 44 pace is really not reflective of how he seems to play in game. But the rest of the team seemed to fill out well. Pugh was pretty average. Brunt was pretty average as well. But they were both players that could play on the game. You could feel that if you just got them, they'd be able to pick a pass every time. And like I said, when the pace isn't great, they seem to up some of the other stats, which people don't really pick out as well. But Gareth Barry as well, pretty solid CDM, but not too much really to say about him. He just sort of did the job. And yeah, the team really overall, I would say, like I said, surprising, very good, and really enjoyable to use a team that's just you would never usually pick out as well. But yeah, we're coming up to the end of this video. If you have enjoyed this squad builder and you want to see a different type of squad builder, I like doing ones that are sort of out of the ordinary. So if you have any ideas, then please pass them over as well. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope that you have an enjoyable weekend.